I feel like this episode should be more appropriately named Fighting Mech Jealousy, because all I felt was angst in this one. So what happened this week on Hero Still Can't Ride the Mech? Well, the little shit is more smug than ever after the not mech battle. We learned Goro isn't actually a part of the original group, which now fulfills the senpai category of the anime bingo board. No wonder he was so accepting of it all. Speaking of, Miss Ichigo Von Jealous Pants goes from frustrated to all-out exploding in 23 minutes. The adults are contemplating why the main character is being the main character, all while performing a huge mech block for the sake of not being shown up again. 02 brings Hiro out for some alone time where she attempts to show him what it truly means to be a 24th century trapeze artist. The adults give the squad flack about being saved the first time by the horny one, only for the parasites to go on a mission to be saved by the horny one. Strange, isn't it? Mitsuru finally realizes his dream about being a snobby asshole and tomorrow's bloody mess of the day all at the same time. Mechanical ecstasy truly does come at a price, my friend. And of course, Hiro still can't ride that mech. I'm kind of feeling bad for him by now. He's like a wounded police dog who just wants to help on the beat. And you know, I'm going to throw him a few bones this time around since he got a lot of shade tossed at him. Before we talk about that in more detail, I do want to get my overall impressions of the episode out of the way, which ended up being a big fat meh. I felt like the show was still trying way too hard to justify Hiro's special status for why they hadn't booted him yet, even when the girl reminds us how their Papa makes children disappear when they find that they aren't compatible to pilots or no longer able to. So what makes Hiro so damn special before 02 shows up? I feel like that's a big continuity error. Also, the adults continue to astound me for their utter hypocrisy. They want to try things out, yet still want to stick by the rules. If they are that scared of an unfaithful person giving influence to their precious parasites, then they should have never wanted to make her a mech to operate in the first place. And yeah, it's no surprise. 02 is my favorite character so far. I just like how she handles herself. She's a strong, independent, horned woman who don't need no mech. Well, yeah, she does, but you get my point. But I also like how she doesn't ignore her flaws and insecurities, how she owns up to her misgivings. People do die when they are killed in there, and she knows it. That's why she's more than capable of finding a partner that suits her on her own. I also want to give props to Goro here for just being a great guy, and I think that has to do with his maturity. Even if Ichigo doesn't see it now, he's a perfect match for her, someone who can calmly rein her in when she's going over her limit. Going back to our main lead, I feel like it's time to try and answer the elephant in the damn room. Why won't the adults just let him ride that mech? They clearly have interest in doing so since they started observing him, yet when it's morphin', oops, wrong show. I mean, when it's time to save the kids yet again, wouldn't the most objective thing to do would be to put the best possible outcomes together and, you know, get things done? But no, you guys want to follow by the book because Hiro can't muster his stamen. Stamen! Oh my god, that's just one sound off from Darling Mother Frank, are you seriously trying to get me demonic? Ha 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 ha! Just kidding, I'm too small for you two to care about my small change. Just like this guy cares too little about twisting the already deep knife into Hiro's confidence. Because man, this guy was a dick. No pun intended. I am on a roll. We get information early in the episode that Hiro named all his squad mates when they were little. Through context clues, we learn that Mitsuru as well as the other kids looked up to Hiro because Hiro had that special brand of main characterness that hopefully would have led him to become squad leader and ride into victory. But then reality happens. Now Mitsuru spends his time griping over the fact that Hiro should have just given up a long time ago because blah blah blah, and that he could be next on the chopping block blah blah blah. And it's clearly not his fault, he's too unstable for battle. His partner is obviously the problem blah blah blah. Sounds like a horrible guy in the end, am I right? And that's the point. Man, this guy was just full of excuses. Devil-chan is now what I'm calling him. Wasn't this pathetic? Look, I get it. He's the loser character that wishes he wasn't in the background and that everyone else is the cause of his problems. But I saw a million miles away he would be for better of words, thrusted out of commission by our 24th century Fujiko Mine here, leading up to a not so surprising message that this was the "it has to be Hiro" episode, as everything builds up to a pretense explaining why only Hiro is the perfect match despite the fact that she can ride with anyone. At first I was wondering to myself as to why it was only Hiro, you know, besides the plot purposes, and the answer I found was actually not in the anime, but in the line of promotional character designs. Okay, so let's play a fun game. Patrick, show these images to our audience one at a time. Now, show them all of them at once. Now, lovely misfits, can you tell me what's wrong with this pattern? That's right! These seemingly innocent pieces of promotional art proves to us once and for all that Hiro is indeed a fuckboy. And according to some wise advice I got from a certain dragon I know, it's always wise to not be one. But I digress, for I need to explain myself. So, notice how the other pictures has the boy on the right and the girl on the left. Well, that could be inferred as... Wait, how do I explain this without getting in trouble by YouTube censorship? I know, I'll just do what other hot-blooded Americans do and use automotive terminology. Anyway, Goro, the little shit, and Mr. Still Processing are the thrusters that shift the mech into gear, while Ichigo, Miku, and Miss Polite Pants are the engines that hold that thrusting power for the mech to operate. Basically, the pair needs to stay in sync for maximum piloting. So in theory, Hiro and 02 flip-flop positions and change roles. And plugging the equation into our sex allegory, we can imagine that their operation of the mech would symbolically go from this to this. You know, let's just spell it out. 02 would be the top and Hiro would be the bottom. I think you guys can fill in the blanks from there. Regardless, this was an important factor to both the show's plot and message as a whole, at least from what I've been gathering. 02, being a woman, taking the lead in piloting the mech probably was something unheard of for this organizational cult up until now. They've all been brainwashed to think that the configuration cannot be piloted in any other way, that any other way would be unholy and either not work or an abusive operation of the user's part. It's shameful for a woman to do that because it hurts all their little prides. Isn't that sad? So when I said in the last review how Mitsuru's comment about Hiro just riding along meant more than we knew, this is what I was hoping for it would go. In fact, Mitsuru's display when riding with 02 is a clear example of what their society's teachings are. Mitsuru felt powerful when he was dominating and killing the enemy, that to his knowledge, it was him in full control, because of course the bottom is just a vessel. Well, he found out very quickly that he was wrong, and worse off, he probably wouldn't understand why. Not his fault though, but I think that in this series that's the direction Hiro will be heading towards, an outcome where he fully allows 02 to take control, and in turn teach him what it truly means to ride the mech for a relationship, and how to have a mutual bond applying to new ventures and saving the day. Hey, he could even take command sometimes maybe. Actually, no. I know he will do something in the future to save 02 after something strenuous and be able to take the lead finally because anime and save the day with the power of plot armor. That's how I see this anime going. But what do you guys think of all of that? Man, I truly am loving this anime despite its cynicalism. So much symbolism is smacking your face, but it's still fun to watch that trigger magic. But for now, I hope you guys are liking my series on Darling of the Frank. I'm trying my best to improve my thought process and such as we head into February, where things hopefully get back on track. Though, to show some appreciation for this review series, try giving this video a like, talk about it in the comments, share across all of the interwebs, and if you're new, I especially implore you to subscribe to the Anime Misfit today! You really won't regret it. Of course, if you want to follow me elsewhere, I got a Facebook, I got Twitter, and of course Discord to keep you all busy. And a big thank you to Quintessence and everyone who has been supporting me financially on Patreon and Ko-fi. It's above and beyond help like that that gives me the wiggle room to pay Patrick here to edit ongoing content, while I have time to make bigger content for you all to enjoy. Okay, self-shaming promotional inserts over. I gotta get back to making content for the upcoming month, while I force Patrick here to watch more unspeakable horrors from the depths of Ramen Land. Shannen, ow!